I thought that self-leadership was always about leadership in corporate. Back in the day, leadership was politics.
I will say the most successful, typically the people that I work with are people who define themselves as successful on paper. And I am so grateful that you said, hold up, time out. Who are you? Because it is success on paper. But the problem is where we get in a comfortable pattern and we just accept it for what it is. And we don't push the envelope. We don't look for invisible barriers that are blocking our growth. Am I choosing to stay here because I want to stay here and because it provides monetarily security for my family? Or am I staying here because I know that this fulfills my entire potential?
Ooh,
that's a very scary question to ask yourself.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Ati Greenspan. I'm a personal branding coach and business strategy, and I help you, coaches and service providers, figure it out what to post, what to do on and off social media so you can consistently get clients and grow your business. Hello, everybody. I am so excited for this episode of the Be Brand podcast. I have with me one of my favorite people. I feel like I say that every episode, but this is the deal. She is one of our soon to be published booked authors with the Ascension Mastermind. We're so freaking excited about that. She is a self-leadership coach and founder of Legacy Fulfill. She's also a company consultant. And twist of the story, she's a former Target senior executive, and a lot of her story starts there. Welcome, Brin'na Rollins, to the Be Brand podcast.
I am so excited to be here, and I cannot wait to hug you in September.
Yes. September 25th, 26th, 27th. Come join us at Be Brand Live, our third yearly conference here in Vegas. And Brina will be on stage sharing all of her brilliance. But Brina, I kind of introduced you. I gave everybody kind of like the titles. But who is Brina?
Oh man, I could take this in a lot of different directions. I'm homegrown in the Midwest. So I was born and raised in Indiana, super small town. Some maps it unfortunately didn't even make the cut on. And I graduated from Purdue University in 2014 and had dreams and aspirations of going into dentistry, which lo and behold, now I'm so glad that did not work out because I would not have enjoyed that. But I ended up starting my career with the one and only Target straight out of college. And it was a great position for me. I got to lead front door to back door business. I was leading teams at mass scale. I was promoting very quickly. And I just kept going and growing. And I loved it. I loved how chaotic it was. I loved how stressful it was. But the whole reason is that I love the impact that I was able to make in the people that worked for me, but also the shoppers that come in there. I guarantee if you are listening to this episode, you have been on a recent Target run, and that's because it's the best in the business.
Let's actually start there because, okay, I'm going to throw you a curveball like I do with all of my guests. You told me all these accomplishments, but you still didn't tell me who is Brina.
Oh, you're right. I'm now a California girl. And 2019, Target relocated us out here, myself, my husband, Drew, of a very long time building relationship, and our two little dogs, Jax and Oliver. And I would tell you, I am somebody who knows the worth of their voice. I can also tell you, I haven't always been that person.
Yes.
And I am now. And I am confident in who I am. I know the value that I offer. I know that integrity matters to me. And I know that my job on this planet is to amplify other people. And being able to do that as a coach has been so rewarding. That's who I am.
For our people listening, I'm going to tell you why I asked her this question. something that has been so present for me, particularly lately, coaching people, coaching you guys through the book and everything, is we identify so much to our accomplishments, to how much money we make. I was actually just having a conversation with somebody this morning that used to also do triathlons the way I did, and how much we were attached to that identity and the achieving. One of the things that make your story, that I know you're going to tell in a minute, and you told in the book, that makes your story so amazing, is that you chose to walk away from, how many years were you at Target?
11 years.
11-year corporate climbing ladder with multiple six figures in bonuses and salary, to walk away to safeguard your integrity. And even then, when I ask you, who is Brina, we are still attached a little bit to that, those accomplishments and what that meant to you and all of that. Tell me a little bit about that part of the story and how, because I want to bring people into the world of self-leadership. And me as an entrepreneur, I didn't even know what self-leadership really meant for me. I thought that self-leadership was always about leadership in corporate, or back in the day, leadership was politics.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really saw myself as a leader until I realized that I was a role model for a lot of women.
Yes. So I will say the most successful, typically the people that I work with, are people who define themselves as successful on paper. And I am so grateful that you said, hold up, time out. Who are you? Because it is success on paper. But the problem is where we get in a comfortable pattern and we just accept it for what it is. And we don't push the envelope. We don't look for invisible barriers that are blocking our growth. Am I choosing to stay here because I want to stay here and because it provides monetarily security for my family? Or am I staying here because I know that this fulfills my entire potential?
Ooh,
that's a very scary question to ask yourself.
So actually, I wasn't in corporate, I was a bartender, and I had to ask myself the same. So we actually have a lot of women that listen to the podcast that they're side hustling, right? So that's a great question.
And you know what? I will say too, specific to the audience and the entrepreneurs in this space, don't get me wrong, I love the hustle. And sometimes I found I love the hustle too much because I didn't recognize that I could work smarter and still make more. There are ample opportunities for money to be made. And sometimes we just accept what works and we just settle with it.
There is so many coping mechanisms that come into play. I been observing this, especially the women that are in my world, right? The first few years of entrepreneurship, we all know that there is a little bit of hustle. You're building something from scratch. And one of the things that I've noticed so much with women is sometimes working on things that actually don't move the needle. So you're super, super busy. A perfect example of this is somebody that spends hours and hours and hours creating content. But when you send them to actually do reach outs or follow up with prospects or whatever it is that is sales related, 2 weeks later, they still haven't done it, right?
They freeze.
So they freeze, they don't know how to do it, and they don't even realize it. So I think that's where that self-leadership piece came in for me. If I was coaching me, what would I tell me?
This is why self-leadership is undervalued in all positions of leadership and influence. And the reason it is undervalued is because it's invisible. It is not something that you can measure and compare a result to week over week to get an answer if you're on the right path. It is a knowing. And the way that you know that is because it becomes the backbone of your business. Self-leadership is the backbone of how successful your business will become. Your title holds leader or not. I had a mentor describe this to me once, and I hold this close to my heart and I share it with everyone that I can because it's real. Whether or not your title has the word leader in it If you are in a position with a platform that reaches other people, meaning they watch you, they listen to you, they observe you, they embrace you. Congratulations, you've been promoted to a leader.
It's funny that you say that.
Yeah.
Because for me, even as a mom, so I think we were out of camera and I was telling you a story. I woke up this morning and my kid was reading in the living room. For me, when I look at that, for me, I feel so much pride because, for example, when I wake up in the morning, we have at least I have that rule with myself, no phone for the first hour. Now that it's summer, I go outside, I look into the sky. Like I have all these rituals in the morning. I'm first. I am first. My devotionals, my meditation, my journaling, my mate, right? All the things that I need to be, then I go do a workout, then I do go from I have a very long routine. But when I saw my kid, that is leadership. And I think that so many women, even in business, they don't see themselves as leaders.
Yes. And the reason is because, especially as an entrepreneur, I'm in this office alone. There's people in this household and they see me when I'm outside of this room. But I bust my butt every day so that when someone sees me, hears me, observes me, they get something of value for them because I'm putting in the reps behind the screen. I'm doing the work that's really hard to do sometimes, and that's real. But I'm doing it because it's authentic to who I am and because I know how to meet myself to still deliver what I want to deliver.
So what does a self-leadership coach does? You work with clients. Well, you consult with companies and you do a lot of like coaching leaders to lead. You also work with entrepreneurs. What does that look like for the woman, right? That maybe is a coach like me, or maybe she's a service provider. And what are the things that happen in a coaching relationship with a self-leadership coach?
I can tell you straight up, the first couple conversations tend to be some of my favorites because it's about discovery for the client and for that entrepreneur. So questions that I ask are very intentional, and I say that. But a lot of times it's something that we think about ourselves, but we don't actually say it out loud. And when I ask you, tell me your preferred style of working. What does that look like for you? Where are you? What are you wearing? Where are you sitting?
95% of people don't even know.
Right? Or when are your peak hours of operation for the day? What that means is when are you firing? Is it from 11 to 2? Is it from 4 to 7 p.m.? Is it from midnight to 3 a.m.? It doesn't matter, but it matters that you know when your hours are.
Okay, this is so funny that you said that because, okay, so I'm starting to work with a new mentor and she was asking me something. She said, wait, do you work during the day or do you work at night? And I was like, no, actually, I'm the weirdo that works from her house and I do office hours, 11 to 4. I want to work office hours, but I love the fact that a good mentor, especially for somebody that works online, we can work at any time, bitch.
Yes. Yes. You do what works for you. And I'll tell you, man, you got to do your homework. And I tell people giving advice to someone can be very dangerous in my mind because if I'm giving you advice, it's from my lens, what I feel, my experiences, and how I would navigate through that. What I can give you is what I would do in that situation. But as insight
point, as a referral point.
Yes. But at the same time, I'm going to support you in doing what you want to do, even if that looks the exact opposite of what I have done for myself, because it's not about carbon copying what I've done. And if I do this one thing, then I'm going to receive what they received. That's not true. The actual leading people, no matter what the industry is, their formula works for them because it's them and it's because they know themselves. I know when I have maxed my capacity for the day, and I know what happens if I try to push through it. Half-assed quality work happens.
What is so interesting about what you're saying is it took me so long to actually realize, and I'm going to say the catalyst to my own self-leadership was actually human design.
Yes.
Because I started, oh, wait, I'm not supposed to do this like everybody else. It's okay for me to do it my way. And I started to truly me embracing, for example, that I want to start at 11 a.m., it took me years until one day I was like, what the fuck? I'm the fucking boss around here.
Yeah.
Like, why am I trying to take calls every morning? I would be frustrated. Like all these things, the moment I moved everything to 11 a.m., it was so fucking awesome.
Yes.
I fell in love with my business again. That is a self-leadership move. And I think that women don't realize that.
Listen, I can tell you too, when I was still in my role at Target, I mean, I'm on stage 24/7, 365. We are closed on Thanksgiving and Christmas, but these people are who are still on the clock in case something's happening. And I felt so much push behind me to be the same position that I earned as the youngest female senior director in the company, that I needed to change something about myself to be like the other people that I could see in the company. And first of all, they were miserable. And then secondly, I became miserable when I was trying to mock what I saw.
I think that it's almost like a badge of honor to be miserable and to sacrifice, right? Like, for example, like, typical Jewish grandma, like the more miserable she was, the more, oh my God, I spent all morning cooking. Like she felt like she was a better grandma.
Yes.
I think that happens in the workforce.
Yes. And I felt like I was a better boss if I gave everybody the same amount of my attention every day, all day in the same way. That's depleting. What is beneath your performance is what fuels you as you show up for the people in your life. And so for today, like Ati gets 90% of my cup because this is important to me.
Over here on self-leadership, which I think these are things that I see on other people, right? Like in my clients and stuff like that, which people think that they need to be 100% every day, all the time, at any time. Let's give them a very quick takeaway. How do they get out of that belief, if you want to call it?
I'm hoping this picks this up.
For those of you who are listening, you can go watching YouTube. She has a pause.
Yes.
It's
so
a pause
button. It is a tattoo on the inside of my arm.
Yeah.
I got that when I left Target. And the reason that I got that for me is because I have lived up to that point. It was 33 years of my life on fast forward. I went as fast as possible. I did as many yeses as possible. And I delivered over what was expected because that is how I was driving and measuring fulfillment. The biggest piece of advice I can give when you feel like you're stuck having to give 100% of people, 100% of you, 100% of the time, pause. And when you pause, physically stop walking, remove the screens from your face, take a deep breath and ask, how do I feel? How did I make that other person feel?
This is just so valuable. There is one person I'm thinking of. The overwhelm in this person's life, it's extreme, like the anxiety, but she can't stop. And for her, in her mind, is stopping forever. Like if she stops, her business will go to shit, things will go, people will get mad at her, all these things. And I think that this is where self-leadership comes in, right? It's like truly understanding that the only thing that matters is your well-being. So then you can actually fulfill other roles.
Correct. And I built Legacy Fulfilled rooted in leading from who you are so that at the end of the day, when we are eons forward in our age, we can look back and say, wow, I am really proud of the life that I lived. And I'm proud of it because I was true to myself and I showed up and made an impact in the lives of others that I'm proud of.
For those that are listening, we spent several days in the Ascension Retreat in January, and like we have been in several calls and even walks over the phone. But one of the things that you and I talked about is the impact we make in others. But when everything I do, I always say, okay, the day I'm in my deathbed, is this going to matter? And 99% of the things don't.
Correct.
And I'm going to say this with all the love. The race against Instagram, LinkedIn, posting every single day, being on your stories every single day.
Yes.
Now, don't get me wrong. We're building brands. We want content out there.
It is strategy.
All of that. But when people are feeling like shit because they haven't posted or I posted one story today. I'm fucking busy. We're putting a 3-day conference together. Shit is happening on the behind the scenes. If you could live your life with that question, 90% of the problems would go away.
And I think what happens when you start to take pause moments for yourself, what you will start to refuel is your own self-esteem, your own self-respect, your own self-worth. And instead of asking, who does this person need me to be today? It changes.
Who do I need to be today?
This is who I can be right now. And then it's a choice. Do I move forward to give them this version of me that I know isn't what they need? Or do I fake it and show up so that I don't have to tell them no? Because that is self-disrespect.
Yes.
And that's where we get stuck. And so the biggest thing you can do is pause and pulse yourself. What can I give today? What do I feel like I can give? And if there is any force that's not natural, that means don't do it.
It's like an epidemic also of people pleasing, because we were, as women, we were raised to a very high standard. And this has nothing to do with our parents' intention, especially you and me. Like, we're going to actually get a little bit into your story in a minute. You had beautiful parents growing up that they gave everything for you. And that still made you feel so responsible and so like you had to be perfect and happy for everybody.
Yes.
And I think that so many of us grew up like performing without even know. And we keep performing right into our 30s and 40s and 50s if we don't catch this.
Yeah. And I think I am so excited to share the chapter that I wrote with the world. One, it's super vulnerable and it's very real, but I also think it will help others see themselves and see options that they don't know exist yet. And I have a lot of pride in that. There's a section titled Choreography of Love. And that is dedicated to my parents who separated when I was younger, both remarried when I was younger. And I felt like I had to save everyone to keep the piece together, keep the boat afloat.
So they wouldn't be uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
So they wouldn't be uncomfortable.
And what's happened, at least in these last couple years for me, I lived 32 years of my life only asking myself, how can I fix this for everyone? How do I pull this together for everyone? And for the first time, when I started writing this chapter, I started asking myself, what do I need right now?
I think that there was something about self-leadership that truly awakened with that chapter because I was able to connect the dots. For me, the desire of doing that with other women was born because it was so cathartic. I was able to see for the first time how everything I have ever done in my life actually qualified me to do what I'm doing now. And in 2021, I was still in a place of a lot of self-doubt when it came to coaching and speaking in stage. And when I wrote that chapter, I was like, holy shit, I've been doing this my whole life. So you just mentioned that with the chapter, that was the first time you started asking this. Mm-hmm. Was there light bulb moments that happened to you? What was this experience of writing the book, the chapter for you?
So I think it allowed me to see my own story for myself that wasn't just in my head from experiences. And as I wrote things out and I'm like, wow, okay, people pleaser. Wow, okay, anticipated everybody else's needs but my own.
This is exactly what happened to me. I was writing it, but then I was able to be outside. And then I was like, oh.
Yeah. Okay, what I was able to see are pivotal moments. But the pattern was that I leaned into what I had learned when I was younger. How do I fill others' cups? And as women, we are tapped into the emotions of other people, and we're so freaking good at it.
We are taught in many cases to look outside for what we need, right?
Yes.
So instead of looking inside and instead of truly like witnessing what it's inside of us, which for me, there was a type of meditation that I started doing recently that no music, no watch, know nothing, which is witnessing the essence of who you are. I think I'm going to be 48 this year. I can't remember. But I was like, whoa, it's so amazing. But I mean, there was no way I could have done that 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
Now, for a little bit of background, you guys, that we have a co-coach on the Ascension Mastermind, which is amazing. Her name is Kat Coley. Go follow her at the Real Kat Coley on Instagram. But she worked so closely with you guys during the retreat on your stories. And when I got the stories, I started kind of like gasping for all of you because I didn't know all of these stories. They worked on them at the retreat. And I facilitated just the part where like, okay, we need to make sure that this leads into your business. At the end of the day, it's still a marketing tool, but it's leaning into your story. And for me, the biggest surprise was that you started with the death of your stepfather.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want to share a little bit about that and how has that shaped your business and even the moment that you left Target?
Yes, I actually have a picture of, and you'll see this in the book, but the girl in the checkered dress. So on the screen is me at 6 years old.
You're going to have to go see these in YouTube.
Yep. I'm going to have some cool behind the scenes author insight tools too from the book. So we'll have to check those out. And I think if you are someone who experienced a lot of loss in your life at a very young age, I see you. And we are a rare breed. And I am always here to connect with and listen. Because at the age of 6, like I had mentioned, my family had separated and remarried. And somehow, by the magnet of the world, they made it work and they got along. And it worked for me. They put me at the center of every decision. I know how loved I am. I know how supported I was. And in the blink of an eye, my stepdad was a sprint car racer and he was killed in an accident in 1997. And you don't plan for those things. And it changed the entire trajectory of my own life. And the reason for that is that the 6-year-old little girl now has a mom who is grieving and has a life that we thought was all planned out that's also starting kindergarten. And everyone's looking at you like, oh yeah, she was just in the newspaper. Oh, her poor mom. Oh, I bet she's so sad. And so I immediately learned to put my armor on and protect my mom, protect me, protect the look of what reality, what others could say by protecting what was going on. I fought through keeping the piece together. And there's ugly behind the scenes and there's growing behind the scenes. But what led me to begin Legacy Fulfilled all of these years later is the inner work that I started to do. I asked myself, why do I care about legacies? Why am I so passionate about leadership?
What blew me out of the water, and maybe I interrupted you too fast and you were going to go there, was how you looked back at Vince, your stepdad.
Yes.
And you looked, oh my God, I'm going to cry. And you looked at his legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realized that that's what you wanted for yourself.
Yes. And the reason is because at 6 years old, our memory retention isn't that great, let alone throw in a traumatic event. There's very few things you're going to hold on to or want to. But I began to learn about who he was to other people by the stories that they shared of him. That is his legacy. Years later. And it wasn't that he climbed this corporate ladder and he made 6 figures and he had this fund and all the things. It was that, I called him once when I was on the side of the road. He taught me how to change a tire. It was so nice of him to just drop what he was doing and come. Or, he was behind. I don't even know him, but here I am at the funeral because he just bought my groceries in front of me yesterday because my card didn't work. And those are like moments that matter, but that's because he lived in integrity. He lived by just doing what he thought he should do. He didn't form to other people's expectations. And that's the life I want to live. I want to show up for the moments that matter, that I might only be the only other person in the world that you see, but I see you and you're not alone. Yeah. And when you do, you live a life of impact.
crying.
That's your
here.
legacy. Self-leadership, it's not selfish. It is the absolute foundation that lets you serve others out of wholeness, whole being, all of me, right here, right now with you, instead of hollowness. And that hollowness is what I had to walk away from because I didn't want to carry it anymore.
This is more a question. Number one, I feel like all the chapters are amazing. And every chapter has a part that I'm so proud that you guys went there. But when we talk about self-leadership and the way I see it now, one of the things I hear with people is, I don't have time for that, right? Because self-leadership is inner work.
Yeah.
What would you tell to somebody that it's saying, I don't have time for that?
That's a good one. I think, is that serving the future version of yourself that you hope to become? Because if you think about who you want to be tomorrow, a month from now, 6 months from now, is that serving you by saying, I don't have time, I don't have time, that 6 months later, you're going to regret it?
A great question to put in front of people, because I actually think that they're not asking themselves that. They are in a different space, right? I read something that was like, being overly busy. And this spoke to my heart because that's kind of my pet peeve, like my default. Every 2 or 3 months, I have to look at my calendar. I'm like, oh, look at this. I just overflowed this again and I have to clean it. And I already know. And I have kind of a reminder every month. I'm like, can you look at all of your commitments? Can you look at your days? Are things creeping in? But that is self-leadership. That has been me reminding myself, usually my default mode. And what I think is that women are not in the position to actually see themselves until they have done some of that work. And then it becomes, oh, this is the backbone.
Yes.
But how do they get there?
If you know, I'm spinning all the plates, I have no more capacity to give towards anything. I wish I had an hour. I don't. I would love to do that, but I don't have time. Or I know I should go do that, but I don't have time. And you stay in that, there is a weight. And that weight is the hollowness that you feel because it's not fulfilling the desire that you have. And it takes, in regards to self-leadership, you will make some of the hardest, most important decisions for yourself. And some of them are going to feel like, I can't do that because it will cost me everything. And typically when that comes up in a conversation, that's when I remind them, you right now are choosing to save your soul because
I'm going to say,
choose to stay hollow and chase and go after something that you've been doing. You know that your schedule's packed. You can't do one more thing. It's not working. It's not fulfilling. So try something different. But you don't know until you try. And self-leadership is being aware enough that I can always grow. I can always learn.
And I can always figure out.
I can figure it out.
Yes.
But it's got to be true to you, not because so-and-so told me to do this and this is what they do. Try it.
For me, the biggest thing was the story I tell over and over and over and over of the $1 million sign on my calendar. And deleting the goal was $1 million. Deleted the $1 million number. And what's in my calendar right now at the top is calm, safe, grateful, and joy. And I see it so many times. And some days are a little crazy, right? And I'm like, okay, how did I get here? How can I get back there? And I always allow myself to choose again. So a few things for everybody. We have book coming up September 1st. Be Your Brand, Your Story, Your Business, Your Way. You're one of the authors. So if you want to support us and come to see some of the behind the scenes, I am putting a link in the show notes where you can join Brina, myself, another 6 amazing women, and join our book launch. What that entitles is come support us, come see some behind the scenes. You will get a copy of the book early. So then you can review it when it comes up on Amazon on September 1st. And that would be amazing to have you. And then you have a few resources to help women actually step into self-leadership. But before you give them that, I'm going to say something to piggyback right of what you just said. A few years ago, I was riding my bike with a friend and I told her, she was telling me how she really, really, really wanted to change a situation that she was in, but she was not going to. It was too complicated and she was not going to do it. And I told her, not making a decision is making a decision.
Bingo.
And hold and behold, she fell off the bike. Yes. And I think that like when we realize that what we don't change, we choose, in business, in life, in the way you run your business. And I always say, for us, not even for me, is we want people to run their businesses for a life that they absolutely fucking love. So tell them what resources you have for them and where can they find you.
Yes. Well, first, before I share the resource, I do want to say I mentioned at the beginning of this interview that I am meant to be an amplifier for other people. This is also a moment where I'm actually going to ask for help because I know I can't do it alone. So join the book launch. We want to be an advocate for other business owners, female, women, entrepreneurs doing the damn thing out in the world. And we can't do that alone. And so please join the book launch.
Come join us. People don't know this, but if you have ever written a book, or if you've never written a book, all those accolades, New York bestseller, Amazon bestsellers, all of those actually come down to reviews. So we have a very lofty goal of 100 reviews on launch day. So we need your help. Come and join us. It won't cost you anything. You'll see the behind the scenes. You'll get to hang out with us. You'll get to talk to us. You'll get to read the book early, and then we'll go from there.
Now into
self-leadership.
Yes. So it is built for this audience as women entrepreneurs around self-leadership and the foundations of where to start. This is not going to overload you with homework. It's going to give you guidance of where to start to tap into yourself, from the body of how to pulse yourself as a compass, when to do those check-ins, how to give yourself permission to change maybe what you've always been doing, but how to do it safely to make a different decision for a different outcome. Things that support you from track switching from this to this to this to this to this, how you do that fluidly and you do it with all of your energy, because we bounce from thing to thing and we have to show up as our best if we actually want to live a legacy that we're proud of. And then wholeness versus hollowness. And I break this down in the resource as well. It has changed my life. And because of being a part of the Ascension program and being able to write as an author in this book, I have moved from hollowness to wholeness. And I have created this to pour back into this community specifically. So I hope you find it valuable. Connect with me on socials. LegacyFulfilled.com is me. And comment on this episode and like it so that Ati brings me back and we can do more on self-leadership.
I mean, there is so many layers to these that we could tackle. Tell people your Instagram, your LinkedIn, all the things.
Yes. So on Instagram, I am Brin'na.rw, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of the above, Brina Rollins-Williams. That is me. And I need to connect with you.
Legacy Lounge podcast, which is freaking awesome, you guys.
Thank you. If you want more leadership guidance, advice, tips, embarrassing lessons learned that I can hopefully help you avoid, check out the Legacy Lounge podcast. It is solo episodes of me, but I also do tons of interviews with women, high-level leaders in vast industries. And man, is there some juicy guidance for growth in there. So check that out. And I cannot wait to connect with you all soon.
So amazing, so amazing, so amazing. Thank you so, so much for all of your wisdom. And also, I'm going to say this, you guys are going to have to check out the book because we didn't get to talk about Target. And that shit is juicy, but that is for the book. I love you. I will see you next episode. Bye, you guys.